Hi, everybody. I'm Donald Clark. I am one of the acupuncturists here at CNY Healing Arts, CNY Fertility. It's good to be back. Let's see, it's been a couple weeks and winter's really settled in. I hope that you were able to catch my last video drop in regards to how not to get cold, because let me tell you, it has been so cold here. And tonight I think it's going down to -10. I think modestly. I think up in the hills it'll be closer to -15, -20. So it's gonna get really cold. The one thing that I didn't talk about on our last meeting was what to do if you got really cold, and if the cold got inside of you, or if the wind got inside of you. And what I recommend is that as long as you're not pregnant, there's some things you can do to stay very, very, very warm, or to get that um, wind cold out of you. And the easiest way to remove the wind and the cold from your body is to sweat it out, right? So you could. This is if you're not pregnant, So if you can get into a steam room, or a hot sauna, or a warm sauna, or take a really hot bath, or exercise. What it's going to do is it's going to push that wind cold out of you, and it's going to prevent you from getting ill. It's going to prevent any of the damage from occurring from that wind and cold. And so that was one thing I didn't talk about, and I should have talked about it. And so there's some things you do. Now, if you're pregnant, or you're stimming, or you're building follicles, you can't really do those things. But what you can do is you can take a nice warm shower, an extended shower, and that's going to help. That's going to help push that wind and cold out of your body. But today, we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to talk about blood pressure and high blood pressure in pregnancy, and the risks associated with that. So, pregnancies are full of all kinds of obstacles and journeys, and situations that would need addressing and caution to, right? And so one of the things that we need to be aware of is um, blood pressure during pregnancy. Now, blood pressure, unchecked, elevated blood pressure in pregnancy can lead to several problems, and those problems are associated with directly to the baby and to the mom. And so, if you if you do have if you go into a pregnancy and you have a history of high blood pressure, that's gonna result in what's called chronic, blood pressure, or gestational blood pressure, and high blood pressure, and that you run the risk of problems associated with that going down into pregnancy. And so blood pressure, that's high in the first 20 weeks, is a chronic condition because you had it going into it. And blood pressure that spikes after 20 weeks is more associated with gestational. It's kind of a short-term high blood pressure conditions, very treatable. But if you have a chronic blood pressure, but even blood circulation, but blood pressure that's unchecked, it can lead to some damage to your organ systems, the kidneys and the livers, and preeclampsia. And that's not what you want. Preeclampsia is when you start to really affect the function of those organs and how it affects the baby. So some of the problems that are associated with it are low birth weights or premature births. Um, you know, those are the two big ones associated with unchecked blood pressure in pregnancy. And if it's really bad, you can have a loss, or you can have the placenta will separate from the uterus, and that's bad as well. That's life threatening for everybody involved, and so you need to keep your blood pressure in check. So the trick to preventing all of this is checking your blood pressure, getting it checked or getting it maintained before you start that pregnancy journey, if you can. Most people that have high blood pressure know it. They treat it. It's treatable. Some medications are safe during pregnancy, others are not. And so you have to be aware of it. But sometimes it can come out of nowhere, especially when you're pregnant and the body's working harder to keep everyone nourished, keep the baby nourished, and that puts a lot of pressure on the blood pressure. So keeping it in check is the first step. And obviously there's some things that cause high blood pressure, right? If you're a smoker or a heavy drinker, or if you are poor diet or sedentary, and you're not very healthy to begin with, going into the pregnancy can be it's life threatening. It can blood pressure is not simple, right? It's very complex, but you can do some things to lower it or to keep it in balance. And so, eating right and exercising, not a lot, a little bit, moderation, and no smoking, right? No drinking, no smoking, and stay away from all those salty foods. All that's going to put pressure on you. You know, some stress reduction techniques go a long ways with helping your blood pressure. Yoga. I can't say enough about yoga. What it does, it slows you down, and it helps circulate the blood and the chi. Meditation. And I've often talked in the past of things that can slow your mind down. Putting the screen away. Um, Reading. Everyone reads, right? But it's usually on a screen, a tablet, or their phone. No one picks up a book anymore. I encourage everyone to pick up a paperback, pick up a book, pick up a magazine, sit down and read. There's something about it that slows the brain wavelengths down. That's all going to lower your blood pressure. If you're wound really tight, and you're going a million miles an hour and you're not sleeping, it's all going to raise your blood pressure. So get rest, get downtime, quiet your brain. Find the techniques that are going to quiet your brain. And then once you go into your pregnancy, into your first trimester and second trimester, you can do those things that are going to help maintain a healthy blood pressure. Now, if your blood pressure is 120 over 80, you're in good. If it's 140 over 90, then you got some alarm bells going off. So you want to monitor it. You can monitor it at home, or you can monitor it during your normal OB visits, but keep an eye on it. And it's often overlooked, and that can cause some problems. It's unforgiving too. Once high blood pressure takes a hold in your system, it's really hard to reverse on its own naturally. So you don't let it get away from you. I see a couple people are signing on and saying hello, and I just wanted to look at their questions real quick. Yeah, there's a question about blood pressure after pregnancy, and yeah, it can. Severe blood pressure problems can occur even after the baby's born. So you have to be careful, and just even after labor and delivery, you still have to monitor your blood pressure. So it can happen. It wasn't really a question. It was just a kind of a conversation that they had their child and everything was great, and they still have high blood pressure. So it can take a while for it to go away. Smoked salmon. Well, I think there was a question if we should avoid smoked salmon. I think anything smoked during pregnancy you should avoid. But if you have a little bit of it, I think it's okay. I'm a big fan of everything in moderation, minus the alcohol and the smoking and obviously drug use. None of that during pregnancy. But if you want to eat something that's maybe not like a ham sandwich, I think that's okay a little bit. You can't have a ham sandwich every day, and but if you have some smoked salmon. Um, I think it's okay as long as it's not every day. And can blood pressure cause miscarriages? High blood pressure cause it can. High blood pressure unchecked can be detrimental to a pregnancy, and it can also threaten the lives of the mothers and the babies. So it's something that you really have to keep track of. Where to get a good home blood pressure cuff. There was a time when you could say, okay, this company makes a great blood pressure cuff. and it would work great. But it seems like, it's all hit and miss these days with what works and what doesn't work. And so if you're looking to get a blood pressure cuff, obviously Amazon, right? You don't know what you're going to get. I'm not sure if you can get them at Kenny's or Walmart, but I'm pretty sure you could. And so just keep trying. Those the digital automatic blood pressure cuffs. Some people love them, some people do not love them, and some say they're accurate, some say they're not accurate. So it really depends on your preference. I'm a big fan of old school manual blood pressure checks with a stethoscope and a cuff. Those seem to be the most accurate, and you can get that stuff around. So you should try to look and play around with different companies to see what works best for you. Let's see. Yeah, Walmart has some good stuff. Places have some good stuff. Ham and eggs, yeah, it's ham, right? Smoked ham. I think it's okay. I think everything's okay. But you have to remember you can't have a lot of it because it's smoked and there's a lot of salt in ham, right? So you got to keep your salt levels down. Salt can also contribute to an uncontrollable blood pressure, high blood pressure. So you know ham and eggs, that's one of those things, every once in a while, but not every morning, right? That's not a good idea. um, as far as high blood pressure and aspirin goes, there's all kinds of different research out there that talks about different um, doses of aspirin and whether it works or whether it doesn't work. And I'm not sure the actual dose. I think it's one of those things you got to be careful because prolonged aspirin use can cause some bleeding and clotting issues, right? So you have to be careful. But I'm not sure if it's 25 milligrams or 85 milligrams, but a small dose is recommended for the heart, right? So that kind of goes along there. Um, let's see. I saw a question about hematomas. I thought. Um, I'm not quite sure what you mean by there's a question about hematomas. I'm not quite sure what you mean. It's a little confusing. That kind of loops in with the aspirin or the aspirin question as well. Um, so keep that in mind. Oh, that's kind of cool. Keep that in mind. Oh, look at that. Sorry, everyone. I just realized I could do that. Keep that in mind that going into it, you really need to, if you're going to start a family, or even if all of a sudden you find out you are pregnant, it's important to monitor your blood pressure, keep it in check, and even do some stuff initially to even if your blood pressure is fine, right? It's totally normal and you're healthy. Do some of those reducing blood pressure techniques just to safeguard the pregnancy as it goes into the third trimester. You know, relaxation, downtime. Put the screens away. I can't say that enough. I'm convinced that someday it's going to come out that too much screen time causes high blood pressure, right? And so if you're on your monitor all day, or if you're on your phone all day, or if you have a screen in front of you all day, those wavelengths from your screens, they mess with your rhythm of your brain, and that's going to make a big difference in your blood pressure. I know it, and I think all of you know it as well too. So put those screens down. Read, find some, have conversations, do something other than high stress stuff, right? You have to monitor your stress. So do those. And if you are new to meditation or you're new to yoga, there's some really great resources out there for you, beginner resources that can help, step by step by step on how to go through it. I always say that if you do 1 minute of meditation today, and you didn't do any yesterday, that's one more minute that you've done than you didn't do yesterday. So, 1 minute today, 5 minutes tomorrow, 10 minutes, 12, 20, and then you work yourself up from that. Whatever time you have. Lunch break, in your office, if you can close the door or you can go to a quiet place, go to your vehicle. It's kind of tough now with it being so cold, but we all know where our quiet places are or what times our quiet places are. So take advantage of the quiet time because there's not enough of it. I know everyone's busy. So keep that in mind. Let's see if there's any more questions. Eighty-one milligrams. 81 milligrams is the recommended dosage for BP. And so, first-time moms, first-time pregnancies, you run the risk of high blood pressure because it's new. It puts a lot of pressure on your body, and you've never had that before. And age, the older we get, the harder it is for our bodies to adjust and create a symbiosis with our environment and what's going on inside our bodies. So, the older we get, the harder it is to maintain a normal blood pressure. So age, first time pregnancies, genetics, even genetics play a role. If your family members have a history of high blood pressure, then know it and treat it. I hope everybody stays warm. Dear Lord, it is so cold out. And, I have noticed that it's staying lighter out longer. And that's such a good thing because it won't be long and, we'll be getting our gardens ready and the birds will be back. So we're kind of in the throes of winter. So let's bring on that snow and let's get out there and play and enjoy it before it's gone. And then we can talk about spring and the liver function and how to best move into spring. Take care, everybody. If you need anything, I'm available Wednesdays for consultation. Good day.